Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Bigaka Ahmed and welcome to today's channel. Today we're going to be talking about Yazid and his father Muawiya, and we want to know if they are indeed innocent. Are they indeed innocent, or did they go ahead and did they have the Prophet's grandchildren, Imam Hasan and Imam Hussain, murdered and killed? So we're going to go ahead and say this right off bat, okay? In the religion of Islam, there are way too many biases, there are way too many sects, there are way too many things going on. Within Sunni Islam, you have Salafis, you have Wahhabis, you have different schools of thoughts, you have Malikis and so forth. So, depending on your view of history and depending on which people you may praise or not praise, or you may find authentic sourcing or non-authentic sourcing, or people you may trust or people you may not trust, you're going to have a different lens. You're going to have a different, bias when you're reading history. You're going to have a different lens, a different bias when you're just even going to work and living in the world. You're going to see things through the lens of the people that you're influenced by. This is just very, very normal. This happens during your normal societal days. If someone loves Justin Bieber, if someone loves Drake, if someone loves some of these artists, right? You're going to see them start acting like these artists. You're going to see their social lens, right? Their lens on everything starts getting distorted and starts getting, overlaid by their influences, what they're influenced by, what they like, what they don't like. You know what I'm saying? So, no matter what is going on here, right? No one's ever going to be 100,000% sure. But what we can do is we can look at all of the things that we do agree on. We can look at what actually did happen and kind of leave out those conspiracies and come to a conclusion on, are these human beings to be trusted, Yazid and Muawiya? Now, they are not to be trusted in my point of view. These human beings are at the bottom depths of hell, in my opinion, from going through the sourcing. Excuse me. Now, we're going to go ahead and listen to Asim Hakim, which is a Sheikh, speak about Yazid, and then we'll go ahead and go from there.
What is our stance towards Yazid ibn Muawiya? Yazid is from the Tabi'een. He's not a companion. And it would be unfair to go and indulge in stories and narrations that we were not witness to. And it is totally unacceptable.
Okay, every single hadith that was ever written, we are not witness to. None of us are witness to it. So, using that as a defense mechanism is already...
To take sides by saying, no, we are with Yazid and not with Hussein. Al-Hussein, may Allah be pleased with him, definitely, Ibn Ali, is one of the masters of the youth of paradise. He's the grand...
One of the masters of the youth of the paradise. So he's already accepted into paradise, and he's one of the masters of paradise, right?
Son of the Prophet, he
grandson of the Prophet.
Is the son of Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet.
The son of the daughter of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, who is also one of the highest women of heaven. She is the grand woman of heaven. She is the leader, the principal of the women of heaven as well. So these are the titles that are given to the Prophet and his beloved family, ladies and gentlemen. These are the titles that are given to them. And he's going to go ahead and he's still going to try and defend Yazid, who gave orders to his army that had Imam Hussain alayhi salam killed. This is wild.
His virtues and attributes are well known to all. However, through history, we believe that Yazid only instructed the army to prevent Al-Hussein, may Allah be pleased with him, from entering Iraq.
kind of like Benjamin Netanyahu orders his army to go and kill Hamas, but in the midst of it, 15,000 children have been killed, and 25,000 normal civilians have been killed and slaughtered. And his army has gone ahead and gone in and raped and done some of the most gruesome and kidnapped people and chopped their bodies up and have done insane amounts of things to the people. Did Benjamin Netanyahu tell his soldiers to go rape women? No. But do you blame him for that? Yes, 100% we blame him for that because he ordered them to go. He ordered him to do it. Oh, just those 25,000, civilians are collateral damage. Why blame Benjamin Netanyahu? Blame the soldiers. Blame the soldiers. Blame the tanks. Blame the airplanes. The airplanes did it. Not Bibi.
And the culprits and the evil elements in the army misinterpreted that and went further to attack.
Yes, the evil culprits of Benjamin Netanyahu's army went further to rape and destroy civilians, and not just take out Hamas, just like Yazid's army.
And execute.
May Allah be pleased with Benjamin Netanyahu and Yazid, according to Asim here.
And kill Hussain. So it was not the doing of Yazid, and Yazid was reported to have cried and honored the family and the companions that were with Hussain, and he escorted them back to Medina.
So after Benjamin Netanyahu completely slaughters and destroys and flattens Gaza, he's gonna cry on public television, and then what is he gonna do? He's gonna give them reparations. He's gonna pay them. He's gonna build them a little city, a little section, and he's gonna send them to other countries. He's gonna pay for their plane tickets. That's what he's gonna do.
And he did so many things trying to prove and show that he had no ill intent to this great companion. Nevertheless, we don't go to the limit of praising Yazid, as we don't go to the extent of saying that he's a kafir, and that's like the Shia say. No, he's a normal person.
Saying he's a kafir like the Shia say, but yet you literally call us kafir. As Shia, you call us kafir, right? But the man who ordered the murder and the beheading of the Prophet's grandson, one of the masters of heaven, he's not a kafir. He's just a normal guy. He's in between. He's even balanced.
Had his pros and had his cons. Had lots of good things in him as a Khalifa, and also had lots of bad things as a sinful Muslim. And
so did Hitler. I mean, he probably made his economy good. He had a big uprising of people who voted for him and loved him. I'm pretty sure he treated his family well. Pablo Escobar probably did the same exact thing, But at the end of the day, Hitler killed 6 million Jews and ended up slaughtering over 12 million people. So, I mean, you pick and choose, he's in the middle,
He is to Allah Azza wa Jal to judge. So it would be immature and illogical for us to indulge in judging a person we had never met, and through stories that are not authentic and not well established. And Allah knows best.
Allah knows best. You're right, Mr. Asim Hakim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does indeed know best, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will judge every single one of us on the day of judgment. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to go into very, very basic sourcing. We're going to figure out, how did Yazid even get power to do something like this? Where did Yazid come from? Where did his father Muawiya come from? How did they get power? How were they given recognition past, Imam Ali and his sons, right? Well, how did they end up getting power? They're not even from the same land. They came in from a different land, and they claimed this power. They claimed this power structure in the land. So why and how, indeed, did Muawiya first off get power, and how did Yazid take power from Muawiya? Because I'm pretty sure that we all know as Muslims that it doesn't go down a family lineage, does it? One of the biggest claims against Shia Islam is lineage does not determine leadership or being the Khalifa, right? So why has Muawiya passed it on to Yazid? And since Yazid, do the same people still rule Saudi Arabia? Why? For over 1500 years now, Yazid's descendants are still running the land, the Holy Land, right? How? How did something like this exactly happen? We need to figure this out, right? So let's go ahead and look at some of the sourcing, right? So Hasan, Imam Hasan alayhi salam, and Muawiya had gone ahead and signed a peace treaty in 661. All right, and these conditions had a rule in compliance with the Quran and the Sunnah. Okay, meaning that Imam Hasan wanted, he said, you know what, Muawiya, go ahead and take, the leadership, but these are the conditions. You're going to rule everything in a Muslim way. You have to abide by these Muslim laws and rules. And you have to abide by the Sunnah of the Prophet. And no, not Sunni. That's not what this means. Sunnah of the Prophet means the followings and the teachings of the Prophet. Peace and blessings be upon him. This does not mean there was Sunni, there was Shia, there was this, there was this, there was... No, they were Muslim and only Muslim at this time. Okay? As should all of we be Muslim and only Muslim. While Imam Hasan retired from politics in Medina, he was later killed in 670 by poison, which is 9 years later. We're not going to get into the poisoning. The poisoning is something that we all have like a little bit of a disagreement on here. It is very, very, very clear that it most likely came from Muawiya and Yazid here, the poisoning of Imam Hasan alayhi salam. But we're not going to get too much into it because that goes into more conspiracy and we'll just start arguing and bickering about a bunch of nothing. There is also a report that his wife had poisoned him. Why your wife would just wake up one morning and poison you without being, paid or told to do so, or any of these things above, or why you would, try and pinpoint the wife of someone so noble as someone so bad. I mean, God forbid if we talk about anything Aisha or Hafsa or any of the wives of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, did to him, that they completely conspired against him in his face. Throughout all of these hadiths, throughout the Quran itself, in Surah 66, where Allah completely goes ahead and tells Aisha and Hafsa to go ahead and repent, and that if the Prophet wants, he will replace them with better wives, and then sets forth the example of Nabi Lut and Nabi Nuh's wives who are in the hellfire, and then gives them a parable and an example of the Pharaoh's wife, Asiya, who had asked for a palace in heaven and was also given so. So saying that the wives of someone who is very, very, very noble, does not mean that they're going to heaven, and the wives of someone who is very tyrannical and evil, it does not mean that they're going to hell with their husband. These people are separate people. So this makes complete sense. But I just don't understand, the double hypocrisy there when we're talking about when Aisha and Hafsa are defended because of the Prophet's wives, but then someone like, Imam Hasan alayhi salam, when we go ahead and talk about his wife, it's okay for her to just poison him and kill him, which I find very, very, very interesting as well. So anyways, we're going to need to figure out what's on this treaty, right? So what did this treaty entail? Because Muawiya went ahead and passed on the leadership to Yazid, which was not a part of the treaty. He broke the treaty. Okay. This is also in Bukhari, just so people have a reference or a source. This is in Sahih al-Bukhari 2704, and this is talking about how Muawiya had sent his army over to Imam Hasan alayhi salam to go ahead and, give allegiance to him. And, Imam Imam Hasan went ahead and denied that at that time. Now, the terms and conditions of this peace treaty. So these were the terms and conditions that were agreed on, essentially. And these are multiple different kind of ways that history has reported it. Hasan alayhi salam would hand over the rule or government to Muawiya provided he acts accordingly to the Holy Book and God, the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and the character of the pious and virtuous caliphs. Awesome. Muawiya does not have the right to nominate anyone after him. The rule will be handed back to Hasan alayhi salam after him, or according to some narrations, it will be left to a consultative body, Shura of Muslims, meaning the next leader will be voted in. Okay? So there's two viewpoints here on what this treaty had said. Either the leadership after Muawiya goes back to Imam Hasan alayhi salam, or there was a vote, which neither one did indeed happen. He just passed it down to his son Yazid. The life, property, and honor of the general public, whether black or white, belonging to Syria, Iraq, Tamiya, Hajaz, or whichever area would be safeguarded. The life, property, and honor of Shias of Imam Ali alayhi salam and their family members will be protected, and Muawiya bin Abi Sufyan is bound by the covenant of Almighty God in respect that he will honor his covenant with Almighty God in this regard. Muawiya will not take any open secret action against Imam Hussain bin Ali alayhi salam or against Ahl al-Bayt alayhi salam of the Holy Prophet, and he will not try to terrorize them anywhere on earth. Imam Ali alayhi salam will be remembered with honor and dignity, and he will not be reviled. According to some narrations, in the lifetime of Imam Hasan alayhi salam, no abusive language against Hazrat Ali alayhi salam will be used. Muawiya will hand over the Bayt ul-Mal of Kufa and the revenue of Darabjar to him, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, so they also met his expenses from the same and may repay his debt and other dues. So the number one thing I want to just pay attention here, right, is number two. Muawiya does not have the right to nominate anyone after him. That's it. Regardless if the leadership is getting passed to Imam Hasan alayhi salam, regardless if the leadership is being voted in, Muawiya does not have the right to nominate anyone after him. Khalas. This is known. This is something we all agree on historically. All of us. Every single one of us. He doesn't have the right to pass it down to his son. We all know this. Us, all as Muslims, all agree that leadership does not come from family. It goes to the one who is the most rightful for that position at the time. Right? So either it goes back to Imam Hasan alayhi salam, or a body of Muslims is going to go ahead and vote on it. Okay? It's not up to Muawiya. Right? Who's Yazid? I honestly don't understand either the amount of defense for Yazid. It actually blows my mind. Yazid was born during the Caliph of the Uthman and was one of those who were well known in religious commentary and righteousness, and he was a Muslim youth. He became Caliph after his father's death, despite the objections of some Muslims and with the approval of others. He was courageous and generous and did not openly commit shameful deeds, as opponents said concerning him. Okay. During his reign, several significant events occurred, which was the killing of Al-Hussain, may Allah be pleased with him. He did not issue orders that Al-Hussain be killed, and did not express joy at his killing, and he did not poke the teeth of Al-Hussain, may Allah be pleased with him, with a stick, or carrying a head of Al-Hussain, may Allah be pleased with him, to Syria. But he did issue orders that Al-Hussain, may Allah be pleased with him, be resisted and his efforts to become caliph were to be hindered, even if that meant fighting him. Okay, so he doesn't want his army to kill him, but he tells his army, you can fight him. That doesn't even make sense. How do you order, once again, going back to Benjamin Netanyahu, how do you order your army to go fight 2 million Palestinians, right? Go fight all these Palestinians, but only kill Hamas, and then 30,000 people get slaughtered. You're like, oh, well, we got 2 Hamas members. We're good. The rest were just collateral damage. I didn't order them to do that. They did that by themselves. They just did that all by themselves. Right? His disputes went too far in following his commands. Yazid Ibn Zayd to kill him. Attacked him at Hussain. He beats with him. Asked to let him come to Yazid and go to the guard of the Muslim border or go back to Mecca. But they did not allow him to do any of these things, and the only choice they gave him was to surrender to them. And Ziyad ordered Umar ibn Sa'ad to fight him, and they killed him unlawfully. Him and a number of his family members, may Allah be pleased with them. 72 people end up being slaughtered by this army, and I guess it was just an accident from Yazid's part, I guess, according to this. Yazid was very sad about it. He cried about it, and he gave the people who will never forget this and were traumatized and witnessed the complete slaughter of the Prophet's family, some reparations. He sent them back to their towns with some money and a gift of flowers. And he cried about it. The story about Imam Hussein's head being taken back to Yazid, I 100% believe without a doubt. Now it says that in here, it's saying that never happened. There's no proof of that, which is fine. There doesn't have to be proof of that. I don't need proof of that to know Yazid sent his army and it led to the murder and the beheading of the Prophet's grandson, one of the known leaders of heaven, which is completely wild to me. But, it's okay. The killing of Al-Hussein was a great calamity, for the killing of Al-Hussein and Uthmani before him were the 2 greatest causes of tribulation of this ummah. They were killed by the worst people before Allah. When his family, may Allah be pleased with them, came to Yazid ibn Muawiya, he honored them and let them go to Medina. It was narrated that he cursed Ibn Ziyad for killing him and said, I would have been content with the obedience of the people of Iraq without the killing of Al-Hussein. Yet despite that, he did not take any action to show disapproval of his killing or to avenge him when he should have done that. So the Muslims criticized him for doing that. What he should have done in addition to other things. For his opponents, they added other lies and fabrications about him. Okay, so every single time I read something about Yazid here, he seems to be defended because he didn't order the direct killing of any of this happening. But then he did nothing about it after. He literally did nothing about it after. He sent them back to their hometown, the people who survived. They watched 72 people get slaughtered. They watched Imam Hussain, alayhi salam, the son of the grandson of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, get beheaded. His brothers killed. Tents burned, destroyed. Children killed. By the commands of Yazid. But Yazid didn't mean it. Just like Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't mean it. Right? And then Yazid goes ahead and goes, okay, I'm going to send you back home. Here's some flowers and some money. Khalas, I'll take you on horse. I feel really, really, really bad. Oh, boo-hoo, boo-hoo, boo-hoo. The son of the grandson died. And then did nothing with the murderers. He didn't kill them. He didn't kick them out of the army. He didn't do anything about it. He did nothing about it. This is all Muawiya's fault, to be completely honest with you. Because first off, Muawiya broke the treaty. Why is Muawiya breaking a treaty? And like, it makes him a hypocrite. You know what a hypocrite is? A hypocrite is one of the lowest people. They're one of the lowest people on earth. Their hearts are closed. Okay? You made a treaty with the grandson of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. You promised him and you promised Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to run the state as a Muslim state. You promised not to pass caliphship and leadership over to your son. You promised that it would go through either a vote or it would go back to Imam Hasan alayhi salam. But did that happen? No, you broke your treaty and you gave leadership to your son, which then later led to the death, the murder, the slaughter of Imam Hasan's brother, Imam Hussain alayhi salam. May God, please, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, please protect the family of the Prophet. Please. This is wild to me. That people can actually defend this. How are you defending this? Habiba, I'm not even allowed to make a simple statement without being called complete racist names, without being called a kafir, without saying I'm gonna burn in hell. But these guys are allowed to blatantly murder, break treaties in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, conspire against the Prophet, murder his family. Allah, they're in the middle. We can't say bad things and we can't say good things. That's crazy. Wallah, it's crazy to me. It's literally crazy to me. The death of the man who went ahead and beheaded Imam Hussain. There was an individual named Al-Mukhtar who went ahead and went on like a revenge spree, it seems, who went ahead and ended up killing Mr. Ibn Sa'ad for doing what he did to the beloved grandson of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him. I want to talk about hypocrites. That's what I want to talk about. What does the Quran say about hypocrites? And then we're closing this off. I would like to move this though. 1 second. There we go. First, punishment for breaking the promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Breaking promises is among the characteristics of hypocrites. The Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, said, whenever a hypocrite, makes a promise, he breaks it. This is reported by Al-Bukhari and Muslim. Wow. Great sources. The following ayah is about munafiqeen. Allah says that some hypocrites given Allah their strongest oaths, and that He enriches them for His bounty, and will give away their alms to be amongst the righteous. However, they did not fulfill their vows or say the truth of their words. Their consequence of this action is the hypocrisy that was placed in their hearts until the day they meet Allah the Exalted on the day of resurrection. So He punished them by putting hypocrisy into their hearts till the day wherein they shall meet Him, because they broke that covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which they had promised to Him, and because they used to tell lies. Surah Isaiah 145. Indeed, the hypocrites will be in the lowest depths of fire, and never will you find them a helper. Awesome. Oh, you have believed. Why do you say what you do not do? Great is halted in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you say what you do not do. Quran 61:2-3. And fulfilled the covenant of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when you have taken it, O believers, and do not break oaths after their confirmation while you have made Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala over you a witness. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what you do. And we're going to end it off with two types of vows here, right? Vows are of two types. We have conditional and unconditional. A conditional vow are vows which are made We say that if you sow and so work is done, I will give them some charity or keep fast. So like you making a vow saying like, hey, if you do this, I'll do this. Like you give me $15 and I'll make sure I do this. But if you don't give me $15 and I don't keep the vow, I don't keep the promise, then it's not the same. It's conditional. There's a condition behind it. An unconditional vow. I will do this charity or service for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Khalas. It's unconditional. It is a pure statement. Okay? Whoever vows to obey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let him obey him, and whoever vows to disobey him, let him not disobey him. Okay? This is from Al-Bukhari. The obligation to fulfill the vow is stronger in the case of a conditional vow, although it is obligatory to fulfill both types as stated above. If anyone breaks a promise to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will give him the kafara or expiation for it. Keeping a promise is generally considered a good virtue and is encouraged in Islam. Verily, he was true to what he promised. Okay. So, why did I go through these things about vows and hypocrisy and all of these things and promises and keeping promises? Why? Because Muawiya made a promise to Imam Hussain alayhi salam. He made a peace treaty, right? He made a treaty. Imam Hussain gave the leadership over. He said, "Khalas, take the leadership, but it's gonna go like this, right? And everything's gonna work like this." And Muawiya said, "Okay, good, sign off on it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I promise you that everything's gonna be like this." And what did he do? He went back on that promise. He became a hypocrite. And what does the Quran say about hypocrites? They are at the lowest place of hell. The lowest place of hell, the hypocrite. What does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about people who go ahead and make promises to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, make promises to people, and then go back on those promises? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will close their heart and He will make them more of a hypocrite. And He will let them drown in their hypocrisy until they meet Him on the day of judgment, until they come back and are resurrected. You're telling me that Muawiya went ahead and broke this peace treaty, right? And not just in the way of giving leadership to his son. He broke it many other ways that I did not get into because I don't want to get into too many like, oh, this guy said this and this guy said this. I'm keeping it very, very, very plain, simple, to the point, to the complete just surface level of everything that I can state and keep it at. I don't want to get into too much biases, Shia, Sunni, Wahhabi, Salafi. No. I want to talk about what actually happened here. Muawiya signed a peace treaty with the grandson of the Prophet, Imam Hasan, right? Alayhi salam. He broke that peace treaty. Imam Hasan died, right? He gave leadership to his son, which is something that we all disagree on. You don't give leadership to your son just because he's your son. Yazid was definitely not even close to the best option of leadership at that time. He was not even close. He's above one of the masters of heaven, the master of the youth of heaven, Imam Hussain, alayhi salam, like the Sheikh said in the beginning, the son of Fatima, the lady of heaven, the master of the ladies of heaven, from the lineage of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. And like I said, it has nothing to do with the family. But these are the titles that they're given. These are their titles. Leaders, masters of heaven. Who's Yazid? Was there a vote? No, there wasn't a vote. Did Muawiya just hand leadership over to his son? Yes, he did. Did Muawiya break the treaty that he made with Imam Hasan alayhi salam and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Yes, he did. This is very hypocritical. Did all of this lead to the death of the Prophet's family and 72 others in Karbala? Yes, it did. Yes, it did. And you know what's even more sickening about the 10th day of Muharram? It's Ashura. The day that Yazid's army decapitated the master of youth in heaven, Imam Hussain alayhi salam, is the day that 99% of the Sunni world celebrates as like their new year. It's a good day to fast. It's when Moses split the sea. This is a horrible day. This is what you have been taught very blatantly, right? If you want to keep it all surface level, there's no way that the day Yazid's army stormed the camp of Al-Hussein alayhi salam, decapitated him, and killed 72 other people with him, including friends, family, and companions. Burned them alive, starved them, did not let them into the Euphrates River to get water. Is a good day. You guys, please be very, very aware of what you are being fed. The people who run the Muslim world today is Saudi Arabia. The people who run the Muslim world today have been passed down leadership in lineage through Yazid and his father Muawiya since that time. The same people who slaughtered our Prophet's family are the same people who are running Mecca right now. I'm going to Umrah. You know how expensive that's going to be? This guy's peeing and pooping on gold toilets, and he has 400 supercars, and he does whatever he wants. The prince. He has unlimited money, and he's still charging 5-10 times premium to go to Hajj, to go to the holy cities of the Prophet. Peace and blessings be upon him. Shame on these people, guys. Shame on them. And I'm not saying this because I'm Shia. I'm saying this because I have a brain, because I have a heart. That's why I'm saying these things. Shame, shame, shame on these people. There's no way that you come to a conclusion that, yeah, Yazid's in the middle. Okay, Muawiya maybe, he's in the middle. Right? Even with your biased conclusion, he's in the middle. I don't believe he's in the middle at all. I believe he's right at the bottom. But regardless of what I believe, there's no way that modern day Bibi Netanyahu, Yazid, who ordered the slaughter of the Prophet's grandson, master of the youth of heaven, Imam Hussain, alayhi salam, is somehow in the middle. Don't talk bad about him. That's wild. But then me, I'm slandered online. I'm called racist remarks, names. I'm laughed at. I'm mocked at. I'm called a kafir. I'm called not a Muslim. I'm a Muslim. I'm more Muslim than most Muslims. Why? Oh, Ahmed, you don't know all of the Arabic in the world, and you haven't read every book in the world, and you're not a grand scholar of the world. You're not. Bro, 90% of these grand scholars are going to pull their amamas off their head and put them on the ground when the Mahdi arrives. What's the point of a Mahdi? What's the point of the Messiah, Nabi Isa coming back, if you guys all have it figured out? We have it figured out. We're all not deceived. We're all just, boom, we have all the answers. You pick up a couple books and you have all the answers, right? Use your brain, use your heart, use your mind. You want to know the truth? You want to come across proper knowledge? Get on your saliyah, pray, make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and ask Him to guide you, ask Him for the knowledge, and ask Him to keep you protected from the deception, from the evil spirits, from these evil things. And read, apply yourself, Habibi. Apply yourself. Thank you guys for coming in today. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And until next time, free Palestine. Bye-bye.